What's good, everybody? We're back at it again. Let a game. Proud Sixers fans today. I can't lie. No cap, no cap. Yeah, man. I'm Ray.
Marco.
This is the eighth episode of Love the Game. And yeah, we're gonna be talking about mainly the NBA draft, the Sixers. Like we said, we're big Sixers fans, really happy about what happened. Um, and also all the trades that have been going on since the KD's trade, excuse me. So yeah, uh, let's just go off with the big bang. VJ Edgecombe, the third overall pick. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I feel like with every hour, I'm like, dang, yo, VJ Edgecombe might be him. He might be him, bro. I feel like he hasn't done anything that has like maybe be like oh man, I feel like he's not gonna fit well in the team. And also like I'm really glad because I remember and it might have been cut from our first episode. I originally had VJ Edgecombe slipping,
hmm
um just because I didn't know how that shot would translate in the pros, but now that he is confirmed our third overall pick, yeah, bro, I'm embracing it, man. He looks nice. I can't lie. He looks tough and he looks like he wants it. So yeah, what do you think, bro? I know you've been thinking about this draft for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I like to be honest, as soon as we got the third overall pick, I was like, I didn't ever waver thinking that this is who Daryl Morey would take. Like I was like thinking about who I would take the whole time, but
Yeah,
I don't know. High BPM, high athleticism, everything you hear about the guys, he's like a hard worker. This seemed like the obvious Daryl Morey pick to me. The only problem was that he was 6'4" barefoot. And to be honest, when I was watching him throughout the year, I thought he was probably 6'4" in shoes. So hearing that he was 6'4" barefoot, probably like 6'5", 6'5" and a half in shoes, I thought that was a win for BJ. Um, I mean, to start the year, I didn't think he was that good. He was shooting like 29% when I like started tuning in, and everything I heard was like this guy's a top five pick, but he's like an off ball guard who can't really shoot. I'm like, why is he a top five pick? And then like I started watching about halfway through the year for college basketball when the Sixers were really bad, and I'm like, hey, maybe we get one of these guys.
yeah,
And then like, ever since I started watching, I think he began shooting like 38% from three to end the year. He made some like mechanical adjustments with his base. Um, his upper half was always pretty good, but then the end of the year, he shot the ball really well. He took more difficult shots. He was shooting more of movement, less stationary shots, and I began to see like what the value in him was. And I think he's just a super rare player, man. It's not too many times you see somebody that athletic who is a capable shooter, who does have the feel for the game that he has, whether it be on the
yeah,
defensive end or on the offensive end, is like a connected passer. And like yeah, the touch around the rim needs to improve. His like field goal percentage on layups was only like 44% in the half court, which I'm not too worried about. Like I think that's probably just indicative of a guy who's just been getting by on athleticism his whole life, just making a tough adjustment to college. I think that'll come around. He got better as the season went on, and I think in season progression is super underrated. So I'm happy with the pick, and I'm happy that it seems like everybody is embracing him. I felt like he was always going to be the guy. I was a little bit worried that like in particular the Ace Bailey fans out there, and I'm a fan of Ace Bailey. What he's doing right now is like kind of making me sour on him a lot. Like for me, like rooting for him. But I'm just happy everybody seems to be coming around to VJ. He had like some really nice interviews on draft day, and that helps. And
yeah,
yeah, I'm happy with it. I figured he was gonna be the pick, and um, ever I've just grown on him so much as a player since the beginning of the college season. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy he's here. And yeah, I feel really good about the pick too.
yeah, bro. I mean, like, I definitely see what you mean where he can improve his shooting. Like he has the potential in the mechanics to actually become like a pretty decent shooter in the league. So I feel like, you get somebody with that athletic ability and somebody who, he's gonna be surrounded by Maxie McCain, um, Paul George. Well, it depends on if he regains like his shooting ability on like how he was on the Clippers. But he's gonna be around capable shooters, and I think that's gonna be able to really open his game. Um, and they're also shooters that can, play make. So
Mhm.
I'm really excited to see like where he is in our rotation, bro. Like I don't think we've had like a crazy athletic dunker type dude on the Sixers in recent memory. I don't, yeah, like
It's like
maybe like honestly,
KJ
like
Martin was the only guy I could think
yeah,
of,
KJ
and he
Martin.
was kind of like a backup power forward who would only
Yeah,
play with Paul Reed.
and then we can go into Johnny Broom after this, but like I was also thinking like maybe the main dunker guy that we've had before him was like Ben Simmons. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I
a lot of
mean?
people are
Like,
saying this is like the most athletic guy we've had since Iggy,
hmm,
and I
hmm,
think, yeah, I mean, I think that's probably true because where like KJ was athletic, he kind of like fluidity, so it's kind of like only vertical pop. I
yeah,
like KJ though, so
yeah,
I thought he was pretty impactful toward the end.
yeah, we're, let a game, let a game for VJ Edgecombe, you know what I mean? Yeah, bro. And other than VJ, I know you were kind of like sour on the second round pick. I wanted you to kind of go, or I wanted you to go more into detail, about your opinion on Janai Broom as I guess the most recent Sixer, that was drafted.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy with the second round. It's nothing really even against Janai Broom. Like, it's more to do with our team. We have like no power forwards on the roster. I really wanted to do Thero the whole time. I thought he would like warrant a early 20s or late 20s first
Yeah,
round pick. And then
yeah,
when he goes to us at 35, that was just the guy I really wanted the whole time. I just thought it was like I thought it was just unrealistic that he actually falls at 35, and he was right there. So I was really just mad that we didn't get the guy that I wanted. But and I was also mad because I kind of understand Daryl Morey at this point. And when I saw that there was a highly productive upper class center who has like a high box plus minus,
yeah,
I knew that was gonna be his guy. Like I filmed my reactions to each pick, and in the whole video, I'm like, not Janai Broom, please take a dude Thero.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
multiple times throughout the video because that's what I knew he was going to take. Um, no, but I think Broom's a good player. It's just when we have like Maxine McCain and we're gonna be running three guard lineups and stuff.
Yeah,
I,
I
I
get that.
want my center to be a little bit more athletic, not 6'9". I know he has a 7 foot wingspan. That's still not that good for a center, especially when his athleticism is lacking. I know it's not as bad as it was in the combine. I think he'll be a fine positional defender. I'm just not sure he'll be as valuable of a help defender at the NBA level. And I feel
Hmm.
like that's something I would be looking for in my center. Um, there are some pros though. I do think he'll have a good NBA career. That's the thing. So I can't like I would give this draft a B plus because I think Janai Broom is probably like a B minus draft pick. I think a dude there would have been like an A, and
Hmm.
then I think BJ was like an A. So I think it like evens out to like about a B minus.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think Broom will have a fine NBA career. I'm not like, oh my God, like why did we just waste this pick? Because I think he's a good screener. I think he's a really special passer for center. Obviously we're not gonna be running the game through him in the low post. I'm wondering if we're gonna use him as a power forward with Bona as like a dunker spot center because
Yeah,
Broom's
yeah.
passing is so
I
good.
can see that. Yeah.
Broom's a really good rebounder, which we really needed. So I'm okay with that. That's part of the reason I wanted to do Thero because he's a good rebounder. Broom is an even better rebounder, but he's a center. So I don't know how that's gonna work. But at the same time, you can never have too much center depth. And Andre Drummond was probably one of the worst players in the NBA last year. Um, Maybe that was injury because I know he was hampered throughout the year, but maybe just on the other side of the hill at this point. So thought getting a center was a fine move. Wasn't the guy I wanted, so I kind of overreacted last night. But I think there's a place for Janai Broom in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously he's not gonna be the guy he was in college, just dominating night in and night out. But I think he'll be a rotational player for a long time.
Yeah, bro. I mean, like, I feel like I understood why we drafted him. He's a really good rebounding center, and he's also been a part of a really good program in Auburn. Um, I'm definitely concerned because he is injury prone, and that's one of the main factors of like the Sixers in general these past couple years.
Are you
Um,
talking about a dude there or Janai Broom? Because I think Janai
no,
Broom's
Broom,
pretty
Broom,
healthy.
my fault, Broom. Um, so like it's definitely like a room of I guess concern. Um, I think another I guess concern that I have is just like you said, his athleticism. But I do think his shiftiness kind of masks that lack of athleticism that you would want in a center. Um, but like something that my dad was telling me is like, guys guys who are centers, like they don't always need to thrive on athleticism. Like you take Cat, for example. He's not like an athleticism type of big, if that makes sense. He's more of a shooter.
But
Um,
that's what I'm kind of worried about because Broom isn't a shooter and he like
yeah,
Cat can't defend at all. I'm kind of worried Broom won't be able to defend.
yeah, no, I get that. I get that. So I mean, I think it's a risky pick, but I'm also not mad at the pick because it makes sense for our skill sets and what we need. But I mean, only time will tell. I think Maury has been, despite what we think about Maury in general, and this is the last thing I'll say, like he's been proven that, or he's proven to us that he knows how to draft.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um, he's hit on virtually every pick since he's arrived. So, I'm gonna see how it goes. I don't think Broom will play as much, but I mean, you never know based on injuries what could happen. Um,
yeah. I think he's gonna
yeah,
have to. Our summer league team is stacked though, because I
yeah,
think he dominates summer league. It's gonna be fun.
yeah, bro. Um, and okay, so like just in general, who are some of the winners and like some of the losers of the draft? Because I have, in my opinion, bro, I know they received a lot of flack. I feel like the Nets are low key a quiet winner of the draft just because they had five draft picks.
I don't know. I think they whiffed on all five. So I had them as a loser for me.
Hmm.
I thought Yegor Demon, I wouldn't have drafted him at all for my team. He's 6'9". The only real strength he has is he can pass. I just don't really believe in him at all, and they used the top 10 pick on him. It's kind of like people compare him to Josh Giddey. I thought Josh Giddey is a way better ball handler, moves way more fluidly as an athlete,
Yeah.
is like way better scoring side. Janai Broom, I mean, not Janai Broom. I'm sorry, I'm on my mind. Yegor Demon, I think he had a box plus minus of like 2.4 against real teams, like top 150 teams, and that's horrible. Like I'm genuinely not sure why he was a lottery pick. Um, for what it's worth, I liked the Drake Powell pick. I thought the spot was a little bit high, but I think Drake Powell. I thought that was my favorite pick of theirs, and I thought Danny Wolf. Were they getting me at 27? I thought that was pretty good value
27.
for Danny Wolf. I do like Danny Wolf. Maybe he's a gimmicky player, but I think skilled size has a chance to play at the NBA level.
Hmm.
Um, but then I didn't understand Noah Penna and Ben Serif after you draft Yegor Demon. You get two more ball handlers that can't shoot the ball at all. Really didn't make sense to me. And that also kind of made Danny Wolf make a little less sense to me, even though I do like Danny Wolf. Because he is also a guy that kind of needs the ball. Because
Hmm.
he's like a point forward, damn near. And I'm like, you got four guys that need the ball that aren't great shooters. Like Danny Wolf is a pretty good shooter for a big, but he's still only shot like 33% from three. I'm like, you got four non-shooters who all need the ball. And I don't know why they just didn't trade up at a certain point and like get like a Cedric Howard or somebody like that. I don't know. I thought if we drafted a dude there in the second round, I'm like, I think our second round guy would have been a better prospect than all five of their first round guys. I don't know if my team had five because like I agree, having five first round picks that was so interesting going in. I hate the way they used them. I was laughing after most of their picks. If my team drafted those players with the five first round picks, I would have probably jumped off the Wells Fargo Center, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I get why people are hating on the Nets. I'll say I feel like this is like a long-term move. I feel like this kind of reminds me of just how OKC planned out their picks just over time. I think it's not going to make sense until, 2, 3 years down the line. And I think they're trying to find who's going to like, especially because they didn't have the main lottery pick that they wanted. I think they're trying to really find some diamonds in the rough, to add on to their roster because you already got, um, you know, who are some guys like let me look at their roster real quick. Hold on. Let me
They
pull it.
got Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas, Nick
I
Claxton.
mean, not even like those guys, because I think honestly,
Oh, you're
and
thinking like a
honestly,
Noah Clowney type guy?
yeah, like a Noah Clowney type guy, or like, because here's the thing, like I honestly, and we can kind of go into the Pelicans straight from this. I think Cam Thomas is going to be kind of in like a Jordan Poole situation soon.
Yeah, he's going to need to take other shots. They got a bunch of passes. I mean, I
No,
get the
I mean
philosophy
like in
that.
terms of I think like the timelines don't add up.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do a sign and trade because he's a restricted free agent.
So I
Because
mean,
yeah, they're getting a bunch of guys in the 99th percentile passing, but I'm like, and I kind of get like, I don't know. I kind of hated their draft. Um, I'll give one I like though. I did like the Magic's draft. I thought they got very nice value on Jace Richardson. He was probably one of my like people talk
well,
about
no,
their guys
I think
in the
they
draft.
traded him, bro.
No, they traded into
Oh
his
wait,
pick.
my fault, my fault. I'm looking at ESPN. I'm reading it wrong. I'm tripping, bro. Sorry,
Yeah,
my
no,
fault.
you good. They got Jace and they got Noah Penda, who are two guys I really liked. I thought Noah Penda should have been a first round pick. And I thought Jace Richardson should have went earlier than 25. I thought that he fit the team perfectly too. Really good shooter, really good off ball player. They needed both of those things. And he's a competitive defender, even though he is shorter. And yeah, well, height does matter in the NBA. You see
Mhm.
players who are on the shorter side who do impact the game at a high level. And I think that he could be one of them. So I thought that was a really nice draft selection from them. And I thought Noah Penda, strong wing, can score inside. Question about his shot, but I thought he was a nice upside swing. I watched a lot of his film because I thought that there was a chance to be there in the second round, and he was snagged just before we picked. I think Morey would have went Broom anyway, but I thought the Magic had a really nice draft. If I was a Magic fan, I'd be really happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand that. I wanted to add to that too. Low key, I think the Jazz had a nice draft too. Just basically like snagging Ace at 5 and also getting Walter Clayton because I didn't know where he would fall in the draft because a lot of people were saying he was gonna be like a late first, early second, but like to see that he was taken at 18, like I feel like I wasn't a bad pick. I'm not gonna lie. Um,
Yeah, I think he'll have a good career. I I, I think
I
he
don't
was
like.
taken a little bit
Well,
earlier than I expected him to because I thought he'd be in the 20s. But I agree. I think their draft was pretty good.
can I ask you a question, bro? Because
Yeah,
like some people they're talking about just I guess the controversy around the whole Ace pick, right? People are saying that like because I think they were supposed to have a press conference yesterday and nothing happened. So like, are like my biggest fear is that Ace Bailey. I mean, and I understand why he wouldn't want to be in Utah. Like, doesn't want to be in Utah and is trying to force his way out. But like, I kind of like, I don't know. It's so unprecedented. I don't know. I kind of wanted to see like what your thoughts on that was. Like, just
I mean, like location wise, like
no, no,
not.
no. Just like I guess the news of him maybe not playing for the Jazz, like of
No,
him.
I'm just saying like my point was I'm not sure why he wouldn't want to play for the Jazz. Like
Oh, my fault, my
if
fault.
if he wants a direct path line to start him, other than Walter Clayton, like they're probably gonna get rid of Colin Sexton was the report. Jordan
Yeah,
Clarkson's gonna be off the team soon. You could take as many shots as you want on that team. They're not gonna let Bryce Sensabaugh take shots away from you. Uh, was Isaiah Collier? His role is a passer. Like you, like if you want a direct path line to start him, you could go take 25 shots a night on the Utah Jazz as
yeah,
a rookie.
yeah,
Like I understand why he wouldn't want to live in Utah if that was like the whole point of it, and he thinks he could do the same thing on the Wizards in DC, which is like, in my opinion, the more interesting place to live. Like, but I don't know. I've tried to like stick up for Ace the whole time. I don't like if he holds out here. I don't get it because like look, if you didn't want to come and be a bench player on my team, cool. Like I kind of get like I get that you want to have
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah,
Like like I understand being selfish there when it benefits you, but like you can't have everything. You know what I mean? Like you want the opportunity. Like I don't know. I thought he needed more structure. He wants to take a lot of shots. I guess he wanted to do that in DC. It was like the report. You could take a lot of shots in Utah, man. Like I don't know. This is like
yeah,
that's why I don't love the draft for the Jazz. I thought Walter Clayton was a nice pick. And like I think, yeah, Ace Bailey's a really talented basketball player. I think there's a chance that he becomes a really good. I think that he like will become a good player in the league. I don't think this is going to be like a Cam Reddish situation. I
yeah,
think I don't think Ace Bailey is going to like make All Star games, but I think Ace Bailey is going to eventually in like 4 to 5 years impact winning in basketball, and I think that's very important and very underrated. I think a lot of people just really care about like, oh my God, are you a superstar? When we're looking in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
draft,
yeah.
not like how much are you going to impact winning.
Yeah.
So I think he'll turn it around eventually, and yeah, I think he'll provide pretty good value for the draft selection of the fifth overall pick. So yeah, I think the Jazz had a pretty good draft, but I just don't know. I just don't know. Like, yeah, I thought he was going to report. I thought the report was saying that he told us he wasn't going to report or the Wizards, and I didn't think we were going to take him anyway because he doesn't seem like a Daryl Morey pick.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't mean the Wizards there.
The Jazz.
I meant the Hornets. I meant the Hornets.
Oh, my fault, my
He
fault, my
done the
fault.
Hornets. So I thought he was going to report, and then there was looking like maybe he doesn't. This is weird. This is weird. I don't know. I'm kind of glad we avoided this, man, because this is like some like Sixers stuff to like have.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is, bro. And like to your point, I think if you're Ace Bailey, like career wise, like if you want to be the guy, Utah's the perfect place to be. Because I think even like I've been seeing Laurie marketing rumors coming back up again. You know what I mean? I don't. I'm assuming the Jazz are trying to move on and actually try to establish a young core. And yeah, like if I'm Ace Bailey, you could be the center of that, you know?
Yeah, and
The
like even
problem,
Laurie's there. Like he's an off-ball player, so I don't think he's like taking shots away from Ace. I think Ace the size of Laurie takes shots.
yeah, yeah. So I feel like this is gonna go down as like, depending on what Ace Bailey does, these next couple years, this is definitely gonna be like one of those like interesting like NBA combos for years to come. Um, because like imagine if he holds out, like we've never seen anything like that. And hopefully he doesn't because I want him to make sure that like I don't want him to be in a bad position where he's like 19 and like, oh my God, I'm about to get kicked out the league. You know what I'm saying? Um, but like, it's definitely really interesting to see like that the Jazz one took the risk. And I feel like, if I'm the GM, I'm doing the same exact thing. But two, just to see like the Jazz kind of going through something like the Sixers would go through is kind of interesting. Um,
It's not my team. It's time.
yeah, it's not my. But yeah, so we can go on to the Pelicans trade. Hold on, I'm about to pull it up. I'm about to pull it up so I can just say like everything where my boy Shams at.
Oh, wait, well, you pulled that up. I want to throw another one out there real fast. I thought the Hornets had a nice draft. I thought
Oh
taking
yeah,
Kyrie
yeah,
at
yeah.
4-4, I thought he was the smart pick for that team. I thought they needed some players who could play off the ball, who provided some structure. He's a quick decision maker. I think he's a guy that people are putting a fake ceiling on. I think he's going to be a really great player in the league for a long time. Thought he was the right pick for them. Thought Liam McNeely then the first round was also a pretty good pick. That was like a
Mm,
RCSI swing. I know he didn't have a good year at UConn, but like at the end of the first round, like you're kind of throwing darts to the board there.
mm,
And picking a guy who was a great high school player who was maybe overtaxed in college
mm.
and potentially injured. And I think it was a wrist injury, and he's a shooter. So yeah, that would have hampered him. Thought that was a nice pick there, just like an upside swing. And I thought Kalkbrenner was a really good pick too.
Heard
I
you.
thought I thought if he was there, I thought Maury would go Kalkbrenner. So I was rooting for them to take Kalkbrenner. So maybe we take Taro. Um, but yeah, I think Kalkbrenner should have went in the first round to the Clippers. I don't know why they took Yannick Niederhauser over him. I know Yannick Niederhauser had a really nice combine, but
Mm.
throughout the year, he was not on Kalkbrenner's level at all, and both of them are old. I don't think a 1 year difference when you're drafting an upperclassman is that much. I would rather take the more productive player. So I thought that I don't know. I guess they just want to lob there with Harden, though. That makes sense too. But I thought Kalkbrenner was a good pick for them too. So I thought the Hornets had a nice draft too.
Heard you. Heard you. So now that we're going into the Pelicans pick, because I kind of have or the Pelicans trade. I definitely have like interesting thoughts on their roster right now. So I'll say the trade for those that don't know. The New Orleans Pelicans traded CJ McCollum, Kelly Olynyk, and a future second round pick to the Wizards for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the number 40 pick. And they used that pick. Dang. I'm trying to figure out who they drafted. My fault, bro.
Seventh overall, they got Fears, and then
40th. It's the 40th overall pick. Hold on, I'm about
uh,
to do it right now. With the 40th overall pick, they drafted Micah Peavy.
yeah,
So
people like that. I don't know much about him, to be honest with you. He
So
wasn't on my board.
I say that to say, right? Like we both talked about how the Wizards have a really unique young roster full of young competitive guys. They also now have a mix of like interesting veterans because they have Chris Middleton, Marcus Smart, now CJ McCollum. Um, is Valanciunas still on that roster or is he free agent?
I believe he's still on that roster.
So they got four veterans that are kind of interesting. Like, and I think that kind of tells me that the Wizards are trying to compete for like a 10th seed at least. I don't know, like what does this trade tell you? Because I think this kind of allows the veterans to take in these young guys, and kind of give them the torch to lead the Wizards to a new era, if that makes sense.
I don't think they're trying to push for a playing spot. I do agree that they're bringing in like veterans to mentor them, but I thought mostly this was just to try to free up cap space for next offseason. Because McCollum's on an expiring deal, and Poole would have one more year left, and who else they gave up? Sadiq Bey in that deal.
Yeah, they gave up Sadiq.
Yeah, and Sadiq Bey has one more year left after this season. So I thought they were just trying to clear up cap space to I don't know who the free agents are in that season, but I think that's the move. I think they're trying to develop their guys this year and get another high pick in the draft and then come back with cap space, hopefully like top overall pick. And
Yeah,
and then a bunch and then like a young core who could be rotational players on the contender. Which I think is smart. I'm glad they're not rushing it. I didn't think Jordan Poole fit their timeline either.
yeah.
He had a really nice year last year. So
Ooh, also they have Malcolm Brogdon. That's another guy they have.
I forgot he was on the team. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's nice having guys that can mentor the young guys. Um, I think Middleton's a free agent this year.
Nah, he opted in, bro.
He opted in. Okay.
He
Yeah,
opted in.
he'll
I
be
want
there.
to say like a couple days ago.
So he'll be there. Yeah, I mean, I think that I think that was a cool move for both sides. I saw people saying the Pelicans fleeced. I disagree with that. Like
Me
Jordan
too.
Poole, his value isn't sky high because he is on a huge contract. So I
Yeah.
thought the Wizards taking advantage and getting off the contract when they did, I thought that was a pretty smart move.
And then I guess what do you think about the Pelicans? Because I saw people saying that the Pelicans have low key acquired a squad. But I honestly I really don't think if Jordan Poole's gonna be the head of the snake, I guess, quote unquote, because I don't know what Zion will be like next year. Um, I don't know. They're in like a unique position, I guess, to rebuild again. But where are you in the same kind of boat as me where you think they're rebuilding or you think something else?
You see that's the thing. I just don't know what they're doing because they can't rebuild because they traded their unprotected pick next year to move up 10 spots in the draft. So like yeah,
Yeah,
I wish they were rebuilding, but you gave up maybe the number one overall pick in the draft to move up 10 spots to draft Derek Queen. I like Derek Queen, but like he is not like you were the fourth worst team in basketball. It's not like you were a playoff team or like a play-in team. And it's not like, oh, we're gonna have Zion back. I don't know how many games Zion Williamson is gonna play. He's never shown me that he'll be able to play enough games for me to be able to bet an unprotected first round pick that's not gonna be worth something. And also it's the swap bets between them and the Bucks. So like God forbid Giannis gets injured and the Bucks
yeah,
suck
yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
suck, then it's two teams in the lottery, and the who they traded, the Hawks are gonna get the best pick out of those. I wish I could see the Hawks executives when they were offered that because they had to have thought that it was a joke. I I wasn't a huge fan of the Fears pick at 7. I think Fears is a pretty good creator. I think if the shot comes around, I think he'll be a pretty good player. But
Mhm.
I think betting on a shot to come around when he hasn't showed progression to this point in high school or college, I think is a big ask and I not something that I would have did at the 7th overall pick. I thought I would have went in a different direction if I was them.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know why you trade next year's pick when you're the fourth worst team in basketball. And if you are going to do it and you really think that you could be competitive, you were the second worst defense in the NBA and you had the um 26 most 3-point attempts. So you were like toward the bottom of the league in both of those things. And you bring in guys who are non-shooters and you bring in guys whose weaknesses are defense. It did not make sense to me. I thought like Yeah, they took two huge upside swings in the draft. I didn't think it was a smart move. I thought that trading up for Derek Queen was one of the worst trades that I've seen, like maybe ever. Be like, I think this is going to age horribly next year. You gave the Hawk to move up 10 spots. If you really thought Derek Queen was that nice, take him at 7 or trade back and take
Yeah,
him
yeah, I
at a
see what
different
you're
spot.
saying. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
It did not make sense to me. It did
I
not make
mean,
sense to me.
I guess they're banking on Fears and Queen to be those guys. Like that. That's what it looks like.
I thought that if you really like Queen that much, I thought there was a different asset you could give up. I thought next year's unprotected pick was more valuable than the pick that they got the 13th overall pick to take Derek Queen. I think
Yeah,
next year's unprotected pick, best between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Pelicans, is more valuable than that pick. And they packaged it with the 23rd overall pick in the draft. I just don't get it. Like even if Derek Queen is really good, I don't think he's going to be impactful next year. I don't think Ferris is going to be impactful next year. I still think you're
yeah,
handing the
yeah.
what's it called a really good pick. I don't know. I thought it was dumb, and I like Derek Queen a lot. So like, I'm very disgusted that he has to be part of this like abomination of a trade, man.
And I guess we could do this before we head off. Um, the Kristaps Porzingis Hawks trade, I think is going to be an interesting trade just because I can't really gauge it. I mean, obviously, I think the Celtics they did what they had to do in getting rid of Drew Holiday. You know, Kristaps Porzingis to free up cap, and also get out of the second apron. I think they like we talked about. We thought that they were gonna go potentially into a rebuilding stage. Um, and it looks like they're kind of in the midst of doing that for these next maybe 2-ish years. Um, the Hawks look like they're low key trying to compete, and I'm really interested again because I can't gauge it at all because they have different guys. They got Risha Shea, Kristaps, Jalen Johnson is coming back from injury. I'm really excited to see that. And they're obviously all led by Trey Young. But we'll I guess what are your takeaways from that trade? Both for the Celtics, just in general, moving for the future, and then also the Hawks in terms of like contending.
So the Celtics did what they needed to do pretty easily. They
Yeah,
obviously they weren't going to get many assets back, but they didn't really have to attach draft capital to any of the guys they were getting rid of. So I thought that was a win for them. They pulled it off very smoothly. Um, Also
why
the
are the
Drew
ops so
Holiday
tough?
salary dump. I've never seen a
Why are the
team
ops
get picks
doing this
back.
to us, bro?
I don't know. I've never seen a team get picks back in a salary dump, and they did that with the Drew Holiday one. I'm like, bro, y'all should be.
Yo, I was
I don't
sick.
know.
I was
I don't
sick,
know.
bro. I was sick.
Yeah. I
That's
thought,
because he was once one of us, bro.
yeah, he was my first Sixers merch. I had a Drew Holiday player too. I went
Man,
to the game and I asked my dad for it, and he got it for me when I was a young boy. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think like that's a contract that the Blazers could absorb. I don't like how they gave up the picks instead of getting them. But you got Simons off the team to allow other people to take shots, and
yeah,
Anthony Simons was probably one of the worst defenders in the NBA, and the Blazers are the defensive team at this point. They're trying to establish that identity. That's pretty clear.
yeah,
So I thought that was a fine move for both teams. I was like, why did you give up the picks and not them? But it's cool. I thought it was cool. The Porzingis one, I don't know. I think he's a really great player when he's on the court. Problem is they don't know what's wrong with him medically, so he's not a guy I would be betting on. Maybe the Hawks know more than me. I'm sort of
yeah,
getting
yeah,
his medicals and stuff, and if they think they could take care of it or they think they could take the risk, like that's cool. They also drafted Asa Newell, who I'm not the biggest fan of, but they got him at pick number 22, I believe. So I think that's fine value. I was worried somebody was going to take him in the lottery. Before he was drafted, I think he's going to be probably a career backup, so or like a low level starter, depending on what type of team he's on. So I think that was a fine draft slot for him. So they got a little bit of insurance in case Porzingis can't play
yeah,
and Asa Newell. So I thought that was I don't know. Like, I guess a lot of teams in the East think they can go for it right now. So I'm not really going to fault them. It's not like they gave up a bunch of first round picks to get that player. And you usually don't get that type of a player without giving up a lot of draft capital in the trade. So, because Porzingis is one of the better players in the NBA when
yeah.
he's
When
out
he's
there.
healthy, yeah,
So all you're
exactly.
really doing is just taking on the risk of like the money or will he be playing. Like you didn't give up any like real like scary assets. So I thought that was a fine trade for both teams too.
Yeah. I mean, like just the fact I feel like if you get Porzingis back for George's Niang. Like you can live with that, honestly. Um, and it's gonna be really interesting to see like Trey Young play around a lot of long defenders. I feel like this is kind of like what the Hawks were envisioning once they drafted Ricochet, just to build Trey Young around kind of young defenders because he's so short. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play next year, regardless of if Porzingis is there or not, because I think they're still going to be an interesting team as long as Jalen Johnson is on the floor.
Hmm.
Because they've proven like they've beaten some of the best teams. I forget what their record was, but they've beaten some of the best teams in the league. Just as I guess as they were without Porzingis. So yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how the Hawks compete this year. Obviously, bro, since the East is wide open, I think it's gonna be what Cleveland, New York, us. You could throw maybe like Orlando in there and Atlanta. Maybe, well, not I wouldn't say Chicago, honestly. That I feel like they need a couple years.
Yeah.
Like,
The Heat should be pretty fine.
yeah, like those are kind of like the main teams that I'm thinking about that
The
can really
Raptors will be interesting too. I thought their draft was good. I thought
like
Sam be a good player.
maybe the Hornets. It depends on LaMelo's health.
I don't
But
think so.
like, yeah, I
I
get
think
it.
I'm
I
just
get it.
lower on Brandon Miller right now than people. Not the fact that I think he's bad. He just hasn't really shown me anything, so I just genuinely don't know what to think of Brandon Miller.
I get it. I get it, bro. I get it. I mean, I think because I knew like I said if they drafted Khan or Trey Johnson, like I think Khan would really unlock um Brandon Miller's game specifically as a shot creator because he's such a threat shooting wise. So I mean, it's gonna be an interesting year this year, bro. And I know we got a couple minutes left. So is there anything you want to say before we dip?
Yeah, we just had one last thing I'll touch on it real fast. We had
Yeah.
Suns Mark Williams trade.
Ooh, facts,
It,
facts,
it didn't
facts,
make
facts.
sense to me after drafting Kamal Maluach. I thought Maluach was a
I get
great
that.
pick, but you also have Nick Richards on your team, so I would have just used the assets for something else. I also thought them taking Rasheer Fleming in the second round and trading up for him was nice.
Yeah,
Maybe they
very
thought they were doing
underrated
too
move.
much.
Shout out St. Joe's guy.
Yeah, I thought they had a nice draft. I should have put them on my draft winners because I thought both of those guys are really good, provided defensive infrastructure, which that team desperately needed. So I just wanted to give them their flowers there too.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the Mark Williams trade. I thought the assets would be better spent somewhere else.
I mean, we're gonna see like I'm gonna be interested to seeing Book with all these young guys. I agree though, like if you draft Malawash, there's no reason for you to draft Mark Williams. Um, maybe I'm assuming because I know double big lineups are like starting to become a thing again. Maybe they try to do that. I don't know.
I
Um,
think you do double big with Rasheer Fleming and Malawach though, because I think though like because Fleming could kind of shoot, and then yeah, I don't know, just Mark Williams and Malawach. Neither one have Malawach. I think he will shoot at the NBA level, but I don't know. I wouldn't trust those two as the double big lineup.
yeah, no, I feel you. Um, so yeah, like before we go, we just want to thank everybody for tuning in to Love the Game. It's been a grind. We're still grinding. You know, yeah, man, I'm really grateful for everyone tuning in, everyone subscribing, everyone liking. Cole, you got anything else before we go?
No, just make sure to hit the bell and subscribe.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
get the video.
Bell and subscribe. Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. Woo!